Hey guys, welcome to Series World. Today I'm going to explain an erotic thriller series called Dark Desire from 2022. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The 9th episode opens with a man chasing another young man on the streets. The scene changes to Alma, who is furious at Esteban for doing what he did. Esteban tries to make her understand that Darío outed her, but she tells him that she doesn't trust a psychopath like him. Alma keeps struggling to get out of the chains, and Esteban tries to calm her down by giving her some water, but she throws the water back at him from her mouth. Esteban tells her that right now he is the only one she can trust. Alma asks him where Darío is right now, and he tells her that he doesn't know. Esteban explains to her that Darío handed Julieta's phone to the police. Whatever is on that phone made them conclude that Alma is the criminal. Alma tells Esteban that she didn't even touch Julieta. Esteban understands and tells her to cooperate with him so that they can prove her innocence. Meanwhile, Darío has been arrested and taken away by the police. On his way, he makes eye contact with Inigo. The scene changes to Lise, who is going somewhere. She remembers what Inigo told her earlier. She and Inigo exchanged greetings, and Lise hugged Inigo to console him of his loss. Inigo then asks her why she's in Mexico and whether she isn't supposed to be in Paris now. Lise explains that she came here for business purposes. Inigo again asks her whether she has talked with Darío, and Lise replies that she would rather not, because, as he knows, things didn't end well between them after Alberto passed away. Inigo tells her that he needs to talk with her about some matter related to Darío and invites her for coffee. Lise accepts the offer but tells him that she can't do it today as she has to attend a meeting. The scene cuts to Alma, who is locked up in some room. She feels dizzy and starts remembering everything that happened between her and Lise. She also remembers Esteban telling her how Darío betrayed her. Meanwhile, Eugenia is interrogating Darío about Alma's whereabouts, but he swears that he has already told the truth to them. He explains that some masked state police have taken away Alma. Eugenia informs him that no police station has claimed this operation and tells him to tell the whole truth so that she can find her. The scene changes to Zoe, who is requesting Mao to let her take a look at the documents herself, but Mao tells her that these are confidential documents right now. She requests that she needs to take a look because she's sure that it contains something that exonerates her mom. Mao tells her that he can't do this, and Zoe pleads with him that this will prove Alma's innocence. Mao finally agrees, and tells her that he can't show them here but tonight at his place. The story comes back to Eugenia, who is telling Darío that first, he came here with his father-in-law to give Julieta's phone as evidence that incriminates Alma. And later, the first thing he did was go to Alma's apartment and help her escape. Darío agrees that he made a mistake and he never should have brought Julieta's phone to them. Later, he remembered certain details. One of them is that Alma had taken the fire exit, and there was no way that she had come back to place the phone in the room. Eugenia informs him that Inigo saw Alma that day in the hotel. Darío tells her that it doesn't make sense that Alma would plant evidence that would incriminate her. Eugenia becomes frustrated with Darío and leaves the room. Leonardo tries to push Eugenia to get more out of Darío, but she gets angry and tells them to leave her office. She then tells Jimenez to anyhow track down Esteban. The scene changes to Esteban, who has gone to the advertisement company whose drone captured the footage of that night. He informs them that he's from the DA's office and needs a complete unedited copy of the video. Meanwhile, Leonardo is expressing his frustration to Inigo about how Eugenia is not taking Darío seriously. Inigo asks him what he thinks about Alma's involvement, and Leonardo assures him that he knows Alma from his teenage years. They have been married for over 20 years, and he knows Alma is not capable of this. But they don't know anything about Darío, and everything about him is suspicious. Inigo informs him that Dario's mom came earlier, and he met with her. Leonardo seems a bit confused by this information. The scene cuts to Lise, who is trying to book a flight to Paris, but all the seats are booked. She requests the person to put her on the waiting list. She then writes down the terminal and gate number on a notepad. The scene changes to Darío, who is thinking about what Eugenia informed him earlier, and also about Alma mentioning Lise. Then an officer comes and takes him away. Meanwhile, Eugenia is telling Jimenez that she couldn't get anything out of Darío. Jimenez suggests they arrest him for obstruction of justice, but she tells him that they need Darío to reach to Alma and tells him to follow Dario's every step. Meanwhile, Esteban is listening to everything that Eugenia is discussing through the microphone. An officer brings Darío to the room, and Eugenia tells him to uncuff Darío. Eugenia tells him to sign a paper and informs him that he's free to go. The scene cuts to Alma, who has finally lost consciousness. Meanwhile, Inigo is telling Leonardo about Dario's mom. He tells him that she was an actress before meeting Alberto, and she is Colombian. Her stage name was Liz. After meeting Alberto, they fell in love, and her life turned 180. They then adopted Dario as their son. After hearing the name Liz and looking at her pictures, Leonardo realizes that this is the woman he made love with earlier that night. The scene changes to Liz, who is packing her bag to leave for Paris. She finds a picture of her, Alberto, and Dario together. She starts reminiscing about Dario's 18th birthday. On that day of celebration, Alberto gifted him a brand new phone with a high-quality camera. He also informed the guest about how Dario wanted to study film and television. The flashback ends, and Liz gets a call from Leonardo, but she doesn't pick up. The scene cuts to Esteban, who has come to see Alma and have a conversation with her. But he finds Alma unconscious and starts panicking. He hurriedly uncuffs Alma, but Alma takes the chance, kicks him, and runs away. Meanwhile, Eugenia is with other officers investigating Dario's place. They find Dario's personal computer and send it for thorough research. One officer finds Dario's wedding invitation card, and another one finds some blueprints in his closet. The scene changes to Alma running away, but comes back to Eugenia and the officers. They realize that the blueprint is of the 10th floor of the hotel, and there is also a list containing the numbers of each of the rooms and the names from the guest list. It also contained a blueprint of the bar where Julieta had her bachelorette party, the hotel terrace, and emergency exits. Eugenia concludes that it's a blueprint for their escape plan. Meanwhile, Alma is running on the roads without noticing anything. A car is about to run over her, but a passerby manages to stop her. The scene changes to Liz, who is getting in the car to leave for Paris. Right after she left, Dario also came there to Rio de Janeiro Square. An officer who is following Dario informs Eugenia of this. Meanwhile, Alma also gets in a taxi to go to Rio de Janeiro Square. Dario gets on the elevator and knocks on Liz's apartment. As no one answered the door, Dario picked up the lock and entered the house. He goes through Liz's stuff for any clue and finds out the terminal and gate No of the airport. He then goes inside the room and plays a recorded video which was playing before. In the video, Liz and Dario can be seen making love. Dario starts having flashbacks of that time where Alberto catches them and starts running after Dario with a gun. Dario falls on the ground and Alberto is pointing his gun at him. He asks Dario how he can do this after everything he has done for him. Dario tells him that he doesn't know how this all started and he's sorry. Alberto tells him that he knows how this will end, and a gunshot can be heard. Flashback ends, and Leonardo can be seen knocking on Monica's door asking for Liz. The scene changes back to Dario, who is coming out of the apartment complex. He takes a taxi to the airport. The officer also starts following him. Meanwhile, Liz is informing someone about her leaving for Paris. The scene changes to Alma, who has also gone to Liz's apartment and finds the door open. She enters the house but couldn't find Liz. Meanwhile, Dario has reached the airport and starts looking for Liz. The officer also follows him to the airport and informs this to Eugenia. They suspect that Alma might be here. The scene changes back to Alma, who finds the video recording of Liz and Dario playing in Liz's room. Dario finally finds Liz and asks her where she was going. Liz tells him that she doesn't know what he is talking about and tells him to let her go. Dario tells her to not play innocent. The officer takes a photo of Liz and Dario together and sends it to Eugenia. Eugenia calls Jimenez to see the pictures with her, and it seems that both of them don't know Liz. Liz asks Dario whether he really thinks that she flew from Paris just so he wouldn't get married to Julieta. She clears to him that she doesn't have anything to do with Julieta's murder. Dario tells her to not pretend and that she will not get on the plane. Liz doesn't listen and starts leaving, and Dario also starts following her. The officer informs Eugenia about this and she instructs her to follow too. But before she can start following them, they take a turn, and she loses sight of them after ending her call with Eugenia. The episode ends with Alma looking at the video where young Dario is making love to Liz. To watch more explanations of these kinds of series, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, thanks for watching.